and 346 witnesses have been called in 9 thematic hearing blocks over 62 hearing days. Evidence has been led covering each and every aspect of the terms of reference. Some of the hearings have had to be conducted in closed sessions to avoid prejudice to the criminal proceedings, or to avoid the public revelation of security arrangements that could compromise the work of law enforcement agencies or be used against Jewish community organisations. Some of the hearings had to be conducted in classified and closed sessions, including weeks of evidence in Hearing Block 2, in which officers of ASIO, the AFP and New South Wales Police were examined. The hearings of the Commission are and have been central to the work of the Commission, but there are other vital sources of information. In addition to evidence-led at hearings, the Commission has obtained a great deal of material using its compulsory powers. Some 788 notices have been issued to date, requiring specified categories of documents to be produced or specified information to be provided. Approximately 550,000 pages have been provided under compulsion. The materials produced have been and continue to be assessed by counsel assisting and solicitors assisting the Commission. In addition to the material obtained by compulsory process, the Commission has received more than 20,000 public submissions. The majority of those submissions have been identified as submitted by members of the Jewish community, which provide direct and moving accounts indicating the nature and prevalence of anti-Semitism today. It is clear from the balance that very many non-Jewish Australians have likewise made submissions raising their concerns about the rise and impact of anti-Semitism. It is a powerful confirmation that anti-Semitism is a stain on the whole community and that a properly functioning democracy rests on the safety of all parts and all communities that make up our society. The outpouring in submissions of public feeling and opinion is very significant. There are very many distressing accounts of anti-Semitism and very many thoughtful and hopeful suggestions for the future. The Commission is immensely grateful for the willingness of so many to share deeply personal accounts of their lives and experiences. The Commission is also well aware that while we have received accounts of a great breadth and range of experiences of anti-Semitism, there may be some stories that will remain untold because some members of the Jewish community are simply not prepared to come forward to give evidence at all, even with the protections afforded by pseudonyms and the other measures implemented by the Commission for some witnesses. Nevertheless, the contents of the public submissions provide an exceptionally broad and important resource for you, Commissioner, to consider and address many of the terms of reference. Processes were put in place many months ago for the review of all of the submissions, which vary from short email accounts or contentions to highly sophisticated submissions, including expert reports. Many of the witnesses called to give oral evidence were originally identified from the submissions they made as individuals or on behalf of organisations. I noted during my opening submissions for Hearing Block 2, by reference to the need to conduct some hearings out of view of the public, that a consequence was that those who are following the hearings of the Commission would see only part of the story. There has been and continues to be a high level of public interest in the work of the Commission, appropriately, and there are many commentators upon and indeed occasional critics of the work of the Commission. However, the nature and scope of the Royal Commission's investigations are such that the public record is not a complete picture of the work of the Commission at the moment, and such commentary is necessarily made without an appreciation of the full scope of evidence and material that is available to you, Commissioner, and that informs the work of counsel and solicitors assisting. The research staff of the Commission, the solicitors assisting, the counsel assisting team, and of course you yourself, Commissioner, will after today continue the ongoing process of analysis and assessment of the materials obtained by the Commission. A procedure is already in place by which submissions of counsel assisting for each hearing block have been or will be provided to those parties who are granted leave to appear in each hearing block and those parties granted leave to respond to submissions on particular issues. The responsive submissions of those parties will be taken into consideration in the course of the preparation by you, Commissioner, of the final report. Considerations of procedural fairness will be kept in mind throughout the coming months, and persons or organisations at risk of adverse findings will have an opportunity to be heard before adverse findings are made.
I'm conscious that many members of the community, and particularly members of the Jewish community, must find it frustrating that a royal commission established in the aftermath of the Bondi Hanukkah attack has not been seen publicly to be investigating what led to the attack and whether it might have been prevented. As Mr. Lancaster has noted, the Commission has had to take care to conduct its inquiry in a way that does not occasion prejudice to pending criminal proceedings. And this has necessitated examination of the third term of reference, which relates to the attack, being conducted in closed hearings. The outcome of those hearings will be the subject of a confidential volume to the Commission's final report. After the conclusion of the criminal proceedings, I propose that substantial parts of the confidential volumes of the interim and final reports should be made public. Some areas of the Commission's investigation will, of necessity, remain confidential because they relate to matters of national security. There has been publicity about a person known as Marcus, who wishes to give evidence to the Commission about information that he gave to ASIO that is relevant to the Bondi Hanukkah attack. Marcus is overseas. According to reports, he has been refused a visa to return to Australia on the ground that the Department of Home Affairs is not satisfied that he has a genuine intention of staying temporarily in Australia. The Minister for Home Affairs, the Honourable Tony Burke MP, last Friday was reported as saying that any information that Marcus possesses has been declassified and could be given publicly to the Commission on an AVL platform or by telephone. Before the Minister's announcement, the Commission had been in contact with Marcus's solicitors. With the assistance of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, the Commission put in place arrangements for Marcus to attend at a nominated overseas venue where Australian officials would be in a position to provide him with a secure line to enable him to speak with counsel assisting. The Commission proposed any date in the fortnight beginning 24 August in this respect. Marcus's solicitors have responded expressing his concern that this option doesn't engage certain legal protections, and to date Marcus has not taken up the offer. I should note that Mr. Lancaster and the solicitors assisting the Commission have spoken to Marcus. This occurred some months ago. The discussion had to be conducted with a degree of circumspection because it was not being held on a secure line. Nonetheless, in broad terms, the Commission has an understanding of the matters that Marcus is in a position to state. As I've emphasised, this inquiry must be conducted in a way that doesn't occasion prejudice to the current criminal proceedings. Calling Marcus in public, whether by AVL platform or otherwise, would occasion that prejudice, and for that reason it will not occur. Marcus's dealings with ASIO took place in 2019, more than 6 years ago. The Commission is in possession of the contemporaneous reports detailing the information that Marcus gave to ASIO in 2019. The ASIO officers who were responsible for assessing that information at the time have been called to give evidence at closed hearings of the Commission and have been examined on those documents. In my experience, when looking at events that occurred some years earlier, the surest guide to the accurate determination of the facts is to be found in the contents of the contemporaneous documents. Regardless of whether Marcus chooses to cooperate further with the Commission, I am satisfied that I am currently in a position to give a full and fair account of the term of reference which asks whether, in relation to the Bondi-Hanukkah attack, our intelligence and our law enforcement agencies operated or performed to maximum effectiveness. The Bondi-Hanukkah attack came after more than 2 years of a marked increase in anti-Semitism throughout Australia. One of the Commission's most important terms of reference requires the assessment of the impact of that anti-Semitism on the daily life of Jewish Australians. Leaders of the major Jewish representative bodies have given evidence of the reports they received from their members of the increase in anti-Semitic incidents. But predominantly, the Commission's focus has been on hearing from ordinary Jewish Australians from all walks of life. Added to this substantial body of evidence are the thousands of personal submissions made by Jewish Australians telling of their experience of anti-Semitism, and the reports of our community engagement team, which to date has conducted 150 events attended by groups of Jewish Australians, many from quite small Jewish communities all around Australia. The Australian Jewish community is small in numbers. There are estimated to be fewer than 120,000 members. This Commission has heard directly from more than 14,000 of them. The Commission is well placed to document the nature and extent of the anti-Semitism that has flourished in Australia against a backdrop of events in the Middle East, particularly since the 7th of October 2023. Laying out the picture of the lived experience of anti-Semitism is a critical part of any steps to combat that phenomenon. Finally, I'm required to present my final report to the Governor-General and the Governors of the states not later than the 14th of December 2026. The Commission has worked to address each of the terms of reference in accordance with that timetable, and I do not seek any meaningful extension of it. Among other considerations, I note the evidence that has been given by senior public officials that the implementation of important policy proposals is awaiting the recommendations of this Commission. The 14th of December is the anniversary of the massacre. It will be a solemn occasion marked by memorials. I'm aware of concern within the Jewish community that delivery of the report on the anniversary would be a distraction. I fully understand that concern, and to avoid that distraction, I have asked for a short extension of the term with a view to the submission of my final report on Friday the 18th of December.